As we begin the service, I would ask if any of you has a cell phone or any other noise-making device, please turn them off at this time. Officiating the services here today are Rabbi Evan Moffick and Cantor J. O'Brien from Macomb Solel Lakeside in Highland Park.
Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey. From childhood to maturity, and youth to age, from innocence to awareness, and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom. From weakness to strength, or strength to weakness, and often back again. From health to sickness, and back, we pray, to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from fear to faith. From defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. These words, which were penned by Rabbi Alvin Fine, really express the Jewish philosophy of life and of death. And they tell us that we come here in grief, but we also come here as much as we can with a measure of gratefulness. Grateful that God blessed the world with the life of Ethel Rotfeld. Our Jewish funeral service is fairly simple, consists of some reading, some psalms, and concludes with the Kaddish prayer. We'll continue now with the words of the 23rd Psalm. If you know them, please feel free to join me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord.
Adonai roi lo echsal binodei sheyarbitzeni alemei menuchod Yenaleini Nafshi Yeshoven Yanecheni b'magelei tzedek Yanecheni b'maglei tzedek leman shemo. Gam ki yelech begetz al mavet Lo irara כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך עמי נחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי. נשענת ושמן ראשי כוסי רבעי. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי. נשמתי מבית אדוני לאורך ימים. אדוני ראוי לא אחסר, אדוני ראוי לא אחסר.
At the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. At the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. At the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember Ethel Rotfeld, for she is now a part of us as we remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joy we crave to share, we remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. As long as we live, Ethel too shall live, for she is now a part of us as we remember her. Now I'd like to invite up a couple of members of the family who will share their memories.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Melissa. I have the distinct honor of being Ethel's #1 granddaughter. That was how she introduced me for the longest time. I should mention, I was also her only granddaughter, so the competition wasn't exactly fierce. As a child, I remember spending a lot of time with my Nana. She was such an amazing grandma. She took us everywhere. We went to museums, to the beach, temple on Friday nights, and our favorite, traveling in the RV. Some of the fondest memories I have were at Indiana Beach or Jellystone in the RV. We would play and explore during the day and sleep on that table that turned into a bed at night. I also remember my Nana as being a great cook. She was always cooking for me. It was probably one of her favorite things to do. Whenever I slept over, even into my 20s, I would wake up with fried matzah piled high with syrup. Then on the holidays, she slaved to make me matzo ball soup. The matzo balls were so hard, it required a knife and fork. She knew it was my favorite, though. Nana was so excited when I got pregnant with Mia. I talked to her every day. On our daily call, she would try to convince me it was all right to name a child after someone living. Mia, please be grateful that your name is not Ethel. Not many children meet and get to know their great-grandma. Mia and Miles are so lucky to have done that. Even until the end, Mia and Miles were the only two people she remembers. That is something my children will treasure for always. The other day, Nana looked at the nurse and said, "Ray just dropped me off. He's going to get the RV, and we're going camping." Nana, I hope you're heading to Florida to sit on the beach. We will miss you.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for being here today. My name's Nancy Karp, and I'd like to share some memories of my mother, Ethel Rotfeld, who many of you may have known as Sugar until she was around 40. I called her Ethel instead of Mom, a habit that started when she went through this whole name change kick and told everyone to call her by her original first name. I was around 12 or 13 at the time, and she never corrected me, so it stuck, and even my kids sometimes called her Ethel, though they usually called her Nana to her face. Yeah. Anyhow, it's hard to capture into words a full life, especially when dementia had taken hold of her this past couple of years, clouding my memories of who she was before. And as I prepared for today, I found myself wrestling with the thought, is that all there is? She had this long life, and now all that's left are some personal belongings, like a room at Sunrise with a pile of Beanie Babies, which are now at my sister's house. If you come to the Shiva, you'll see them. Family photos, lots of family photos, and clothes. It felt overwhelming, but meeting with the rabbi and family the other day helped me reconnect with better times and my memories, and it reminded me that her true legacy does live in our memories. So here are some things that I've been thinking about the past couple of days, although there's more coming, and I'm always thinking of new things. But Ethel's life was full of transitions. She was born in Joliet, which is where her brothers decided that they couldn't call this little baby Ethel, and they named her Sugar. And then she grew up in Chicago and then spent much of her life in Skokie. Her early years were spent in various apartments in Chicago, but she always spoke most fondly of their apartment in Garfield Park. After she was married, Ethel and my dad lived in the city until they moved to Skokie, where I was born. And then after my husband Marty and I had our son Garrett, they sold their house in Skokie and moved to Morton Grove, and they bought a condo in Florida. And eventually they went full-time in Florida, where they lived for many, many years. Later, they moved back so that we could help care for my father when he was struggling with Alzheimer's. So Ethel was very social and very active and loved bringing people together, whether it was planning holiday gatherings like Passover or Yom Kippur Break the Fast, or hosting barbecues in the backyard. She was always making plans. I can still picture her perfect handwriting with notes and lists, organizing things, and hear her on the phone constantly, chatting with friends and family and planning the old-fashioned way. That's how we did things before email and texting. She was also incredibly supportive of me throughout my life. Give me a second here. Whether I was coloring on the cardboard that came from the dry cleaners with my dad's shirts, taking piano lessons, preparing for my bat mitzvah, joining high school theater, Ethel was always cheering me on. And later through life's bigger moments, marriage, graduate school, divorce, a better marriage, having kids, of course, her support never wavered, especially, with the kids. She was there all the time to help us with the kids, and that was special and very helpful, because anybody who's a parent knows you need some extra hands. She was always available to give advice and encouragement. One of my favorite stories that she used to share from when she was younger is how she started playing piano. They didn't have a piano, So she started out practicing on a cardboard keyboard, which I can't even imagine. My grandfather eventually bought her a piano when she was 12. So her early passion for music stayed with her. And when I gave up on my piano lessons, which were on that original piano that she got when she was 12, she took it up again, practicing this one song, Claire de Lune, over and over and over again. So that song is like completely etched in my memory. And in hindsight, I'm thinking she probably had similar memories of listening to me practice for all those years that I was playing. She was a lifelong learner. She loved to read and was always curious about new things. She learned to sew when my sister was taking home economics, and she was an early adopter of a home computer. I remember how proud she was when she started making her own greeting cards on the computer. Her passion for learning, cooking, and trying new things, and like there's many family recipes that I still use today, was truly inspiring. Though Ethel wasn't raised in a particularly religious household, she became deeply involved in Judaism as an adult. She and my dad were active members of their synagogue in Skokie, and she really learned about the faith through attending services and through my siblings and me as we attended school at the synagogue. She volunteered in the gift shop at the synagogue. She sang in the choir, and she connected with a close-knit group of friends that she made there, and she was friends with them as long as they were all alive and able to see each other. Unfortunately, she's one of the last ones. She's the last one left. Her journey with faith was something she built along the way, and it became an important part of her very long life. She was going to turn 95 in just a couple of weeks, and when the last several times I saw her, we were talking about a pizza party for her birthday, and I'm sorry she wasn't going to make it. Finally, there was always music in our house. When I was little, I remember these little yellow and red Disney records that we listened to, and then I think as we got older, she started listening to things that she wanted to listen to, especially Barbra Streisand and a lot of other classics. Music was always a part of the atmosphere in our home and something that I've, of course, carried with me throughout my life. So Ethel's life was long and full of a lot of transitions, challenges, and triumphs, but through it all, she was there for all of us. I am so grateful for the memories I have and for the love she showed me, my family, and all of you who were a part of her life. Thank you for being here to remember her and honor her.
Such a beautiful, beautiful eulogies. And it sparked something when I saw the picture on the front of the service pamphlet of Ethel with that smile. It reminded me of a Jewish teaching. It's a Talmudic teaching, and the rabbis are debating the best qualities of a human being, or the best parts of life. And one rabbi says, a good friend, having a good friend. I say, yeah, that's a good answer. It's good to have friends. And another says, to be in a good community. So that's, again, also having friends, but being in a place of values and socializing. And another says a good eye. That's to be able to see the future, to know what's coming next. They say, yeah, that's a good quality too. And then the greatest rabbi of them all, Rabbi Akiva, says, a good heart, because a good heart encompasses everything that is important. And as we just heard, Ethel Rotfeld had a good heart, a heart for her family, her children, her grandchildren, and especially, as I understand, her great-grandchildren. A heart for Judaism, for her community. A heart for her friends, for the people she cared about. A heart for her husband, and it would have been, I believe, the 72nd anniversary of their wedding soon. Today. a heart for life, a heart for her brothers who looked out for her when she was growing up. And in Jewish tradition, the way we honor a loved one, the way we remember them, is by saying the words, Zichrona livracha. May her memory be a blessing. These words convey the purpose of a well-lived life. That those who know you, those who come after you, those who remember you, look to your life as a blessing, a benediction, and an inspiration. Being a blessing means that you have touched the lives of those you knew through her love, through her cooking, through her constant support and friendship. That people look to you and remember you with kindness. So for her children, for Nancy and Marty, for Jerry and Michael, for Herbert and Ellen, for Melissa and David, for Jordan and Jenny, for Garrett and Ben, for Mia and Miles, for her friends, for her family, for all those whose lives she touched and who touched hers. Zecher Tzadik Livracha. May the memory of Ethel Rotfeld endure among us as an everlasting blessing. As Nancy mentioned, Ethel loved music, in particular Barbra Streisand, and Barbra Streisand is kind of famous for singing Avinu Malkeinu, which of course is something we just heard many times during these days of awe, and Cantor O'Brien will share a little bit of Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chomol aleinu. Ve'alol aleinu, v'tapeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu. Kodveinu, b'sefer chaim tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Chodesh Aleinu, Chodesh Aleinu, Shana Tova.
Such powerful words. And we are actually right now in Judaism in the midst of the holiday of Sukkot. And Sukkot is a time that we say Zman Simchatenu, a time of joy. And it's, of course, hard to feel joy right now. But we can take some joy in a life of 94 years and a love shared over many generations that we honor right now. And so I invite you now to please rise as Cantor chants for us the memorial prayer, El Mole Rachamim.
El Mole Rachamim, Shochen Mameromim. Omitzein menuchan nechona, tachat konefei hashechina. Im keroshim uteorim, כי זוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמות אתו שלח עלי עולמו בעל הרחמים יוסתיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתו אדוני הוא נחלתה ותנוח בשלום המשכבו ונאמר אמן.
God, full of compassion, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to our beloved wife, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, sister, loved one, Ethel Rotfeld, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and may her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. For you, the eternal God, are her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us all say, Amen.
Please be seated. This concludes the service here in our chapel. The interment will take place immediately at the family's plots at Memorial Park Cemetery, 9900 Grosse Pointe Road here in Skokie. Following the interment today, the family will be greeting and sitting Shiva at the Men Residence, 709 Carlisle Court in Northbrook. That information's on the inside portion of the funeral service folder you should have received. If you did not receive one, they are available as you depart today. That gathering today concludes at 7:30 p.m. I also ask you to please take note in the service folder, the family has asked that memorial contributions be made to Macomb Solel Lakeside and the Alzheimer's Association. Again, that information is listed on the folder. For those of you watching online, we want to thank you for attending and let you know all of this information is on the website you are currently on. For those of you joining with the family and going in procession today, the procession will be forming in our parking lot. Please make sure you have an orange funeral safety sticker in the front passenger side of your windshield. We would also ask that you have your bright headlights and flashing hazard lights on at all times. For an additional measure of safety, our staff will be placing magnetic flags on the tops of the vehicles throughout the procession. As we drive in procession today, please drive as close as safety permits to the vehicle in front of you at all times. We want to avoid having any large spaces or large gaps in our procession, particularly as we pass through the intersections. The following individuals have been selected to act as pallbearers. As I call your name, you please come forward. Jordan Men, Melissa Men, Garrett Karp, Benjamin Karp, David Chensinski, Michael Men, and Marty Karp. At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise as the deceased and her family and clergy are escorted from the chapel. Thank you. Ask everyone to please go directly to your cars. The family will